CSS transforms allow you to rotate, scale and skew elements. In the exercises site, I've opened rotate.html, which you can find in the Using CSS Transforms and Transitions folder of the course assets. At the time of recording this lesson, Dreamweaver CC doesn't have any dedicated tools for handling transforms, so it gives me an opportunity to show you how to access CSS properties that aren't listed in the CSS Designer. I've already embedded some style rules in the head of the page, and I've assigned the class of rotate left to the top image, rotate left, and the bottom image has the class of rotate right. I'm going to work in live view, so I'll turn on the live button. You can see that I've already added some padding to the images and a box shadow. And I'm going to use the transform property to rotate them in opposite directions to give them a more scattered look. I'll continue creating the styles in the head of the page, so I'll select Style in the Sources pane, and then I need to create a new selector for the Rotate Left class, so it's dot rotate left, and the transform property isn't listed in the CSS Designer, so in the Properties pane click the plus button to add a CSS property, and you need to use the WebKit vendor-specific prefix with transform at the moment, so hyphen, and then Dreamweaver immediately brings up a whole list of code hints. What we want is WebKit, continue typing, then another hyphen and TR for transform. We can press enter or return to enter that, and we then get a field in which to type the value, and the value that I want is rotate, then open parenthesis, and I'm going to rotate this -6 degrees, so a hyphen or a minus sign and then 6, and degrees is DEG, no space between the 6 and the DEG, then a closing parenthesis, and then just press enter or return to create that style rule, and already our image has been rotated through -6 degrees. You also need to create a vendor-specific prefix for Internet Explorer 9 and also to use the standard property. Now I could continue working by selecting the plus button again here, but actually this is a case where it's much quicker, much easier to go directly to the code. So if I right-click Rotate Left in the Selectors pane and then select Go to Code, it opens split view with the cursor immediately at that particular point. What I'm going to do is select that line, copy it to my clipboard, and then paste it twice. Then select the WebKit in the next one, change that to MS, and then delete the hyphen WebKit hyphen, so I'm left with the standard transform property. Because I'm already in the code, I'm actually going to create the rotate right class directly here in the code. So dot rotate right, I'm opening curly brace, and I've now got code hints. So if I press hyphen, I get these various code hints. Start typing WE, it gives me WebKit. Press enter or return, that adds it. Creates more code hints, TR for transform, just press enter or return, and now I get the code hints for all the various things that you can do with transform. So if I just type R, I get rotate, press enter or return, it adds it directly for me. Don't forget the semicolon at the end, and then between the parentheses I'll make it 6 DEG, and then we do the same thing again, copy and paste twice. We need our closing curly brace there, and then change that to MS, and then remove that WebKit prefix. And there we are, we've got the rotate right, and if I click inside design view, it refreshes live view and it's rotated in the other direction. Rotating elements with the CSS3 transform property is quick and simple. Just set the property's value to rotate and specify the number of degrees of rotation between the parentheses using the DEG unit of measure. The transform property is supported by all modern browsers, but not by Internet Explorer 8 and earlier. So in older versions of Internet Explorer, these images will be displayed just normally. In addition to the standard transform property, you need to use vendor-specific prefixes for Internet Explorer 9 and WebKit. By default, elements are rotated around their center point, and the rotation has no effect on surrounding elements.